What is going on, beautiful people? I'm the Grandmaster, and I also go by D-Ray, and I'm your coach of your LA Guerrilla Tactics. And today we're bringing you the draft analysis, aka the draft recap, aka the team breakdown for your Los Angeles Guerrilla Tactics for this season of the Eon World Trophy. If you're excited for it, do me the massive favor and icicle crash that thumbs up button. If you're new, por favor, hit the subscribe button, turn on post notifications, hit the bell button so you get notified every single time we post a new video. I hope you guys enjoy the little ice thing in the background. The slides needed, you had to have a face cam, so I thought I'd put a little Darmanitan is an ice type, so I thought I'd throw a little bit of a winter background in there for you, so you can still use the green screen. You guys don't have to see the room. So yeah, we're gonna go over the team, what we picked, what our thought process was during the draft, and everything above, all the above, I should say. If you're excited for it and you're ready, pull up a chair, get your popcorn ready, and hit the lights.
Down and I'ma get it right, dead on sight like.
Alrighty guys, so let's go ahead and go over a couple different ground rules for this league. First off, we were the 16th pick of this draft. So the wheel pick is pretty cool. We're able to pick in pairs, which means that we pick at the very end of the very first round, and then we pick first in the second round. So we're able to pair off the Pokemon that we want to use for the team in twos, right? Which makes it easier to plan for the most part, aside from like the Pokemon that you plan for the following round and then that Pokemon gets taken, etc. But we did have that luxury, but the negative part about it is that we don't get any of the broken Pokemon. We don't get the fun stuff. We don't get like the Dragapults. We don't get the, I think Urshifu single strike was actually banned. Darmanitan was allowed. We're not going to take Darmanitan this time around, unfortunately, because it was taken by automatic. Hope he's able to use my baby to mad success, except against us. So we picked last, and when it came down to us, I knew that I wanted to pick. I really, my number one priority in this league, I really wanted to get Zapdos, Galarian Zapdos. So I wasn't going to take it round one. But we were able to, spoilers, snag that mon. So we wanted to get the best Pokemon to pair off with it that was still available on the board, and luckily this Pokemon was still available. It was Necrozma. So Necrozma was the first Pokemon that we picked for the very last pick of the very first round. This is basically Mew 2.0, right? This thing gets coverage up the Yin Yang. It gets set up at the Yin Yang with Rock Polish, with Swords Dance, etc. Dragon Dance as well, I believe. And Photon Geyser is a really cool move. I think that it's like it basically attacks the weaker defenses, if I understand correctly. But Photon Geyser is a phenomenal move. I've always wanted to use Necrozma with his ability Prism Armor. It's able to set up a little bit easier because it's able to reduce the damage from super effective hits, which is phenomenal. It's a great pure Psychic type Pokemon. And this is a good mon to be able to cap out the first round. I don't really know how we're gonna do with it. I'm very excited to use it. I haven't had the opportunity to do so. It looks like mad fun. It looks super fun. It's very strong. It's very bulky. And if my opponent doesn't have a dark type, then they are in for a world of trouble. And it gets rocks too, which is really nice. We have our first stealth rocker out the way. I always like to have 3 of them, so the fact that we were able to pick this up pretty early was actually really nice. So luckily, at the very start of round number 2, we were able to pick up Galarian Zapdos. This is the Pokemon that we wanted. I was able to pair it up with Necrozma, getting rid of those bulky, getting rid of those dark types for Necrozma is going to be phenomenal. It's our start to our offensive Psychic, Dark, and Fighting core. This thing's got the dual typing of Fighting and Flying, which is in my opinion a better Hawlucha, with incredible attack stat of 125 and a base speed stat of 100. This thing is phenomenal, and it gets a signature move called Thunderous Kick. And Thunderous Kick, what it does, for those who don't know, I believe it's a base 80 move, if I remember correctly. Let me just go ahead and pull this up real quick. So Zapdos, Galarian Zapdos, I think that Thunderous Kick is a base 80 move. It's base 90 move, and what it does is it's 100% guaranteed to drop its the mon that got attack's defense by 1 stage, so it's able to snowball, which means that if it resists Thunderous Kick, it gets -1 in the defenses, and it's probably not going to take a Brave Bird very well. It does get access to Brave Bird and Dual Wing Beat, which is really nice in case we don't want to get that recoil damage, which is phenomenal. It gets access to Pivot with a U-turn. It does not get Roost, which is unfortunate. Even though it is a flying type, it doesn't get access to Roost, which is it's kind of confusing, but hey, to one's their own. Game Freak have their reasons. I believe this thing also has access to Bulk Up. It does not get access to Swords Dance, or else this thing would be borked. But Bulk Up is going to be really nice for this Pokemon. Being able to pair that up with Substitute is phenomenal. Does get sub, right? All Pokemon get sub. Yeah, obviously, duh. But yeah, this one is going to be really good, a really good fighting type to be able to pair off with Necrozma. I'm very excited to finally get a chance to use it. I've obviously seen a lot of coaches be able to put in the finest to work with it, and hopefully we're able to do the same. The next Pokemon we're going to be picking up is going to be Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen is going to be a phenomenal poison type to pair up with Zapdos. It's built to get rid of those fairy types, which is really good. It's our second rocker, which is phenomenal. It also gets access to Toxic Spikes, and it's a Pokemon that is poison type and is touching the ground, which means that it does soak up Toxic Spikes from my opponent upon entry to the field, which is really nice. And access to Sheer Force with coverage up the wazoo is phenomenal for any matchup. I like Nidoqueen a little bit better than Nidoking because of its coverage. Nidoqueen is something that is always incredibly reliable as a breaker, as a support mon, as a bulky Pokemon, so hopefully this thing is able to do the work. I think that Nidoqueen actually also gets access to Taunt, so it's a really good stall breaker as well. Nidoqueen, do you get access to Taunt? I believe it does. It does. So Nidoqueen's able to be that really bulky stall breaker, or stall breaker for those really bulky Pokemon, I should say. So this thing is going to be incredible. When you think of versatility in the ground type, you definitely think of the Nidos, so I'm super excited to get Nidoqueen. One day we'll use Nidoking, but I'm more attracted to use Nidoqueen for sure. The next Pokemon we're going to be picking up is going to be Raikou. We got our fast electric type. This is the very start of the 4th round. So we picked Nidoqueen at the very end of the 3rd. And then we picked Raikou right after. So again, everything is paired off in pairs, right? So we have that really fast speed tier of 115, which is phenomenal. Being able to outspeed those base 110s, those 111s like Thunderous. I think it's actually Tornadus that hits 111 is that Pokemon. It's able to hit outspeed all those mons is phenomenal. But this thing, we've used it in the SDA, or you're currently using it in the SDA, and it's so much fun. It's a electric type that gets access to build the hit ground types, but not only with coverage, but with Scald. So it's able to punish those ground types coming in and threaten burns on them, because typically most ground types are physically offensive. So Raikou being able to get that opportunity to burn them is phenomenal. Access to extra sensory. And in this generation, for those who don't know, it does get access to Aura Sphere without having to change its nature. I think the Rash is what it had to be in order to run Aura Sphere, if I remember correctly, but now it doesn't have to change that nature. It can run Aura Sphere whenever. So this can be that bulky Pokemon with Substitute and Calm Mind, or it could just be a straight up attacker, 4 attacks attacker, or just Calm Mind setup. And being able to Volt Switch out is in and out. And being able to Volt Switch in and out is really nice. So being able to have that fast electric type with coverage is going to be really nice for this team, being able to help us get rid of those bulky water types that maybe want to come in on Zapdos to eat hits, which they won't probably do anyway. But being able to get that fast electric type is really nice. It's not necessarily needed, but having that fast electric type of the caliber of Raikou being as bulky as it is awesome. Next mon we picked up is going to be our steel type, which is Scizor. Very excited to have Scizor on this team. Scizor is going to be our defogger. So the only defogger that we have, or only remover that we have at the moment, which is something that we do have to fix a little bit later on. But this thing being able to be a sweeper with Swords Dance plus Bullet Punch boosted by Technician is phenomenal. Also gets boosted by Technician is his Bug Bites, which means that's able to get rid of the grass types that don't want to come in on Raikou, which is really nice if we don't have coverage on the rest of our Pokemon, or if we don't really Flying Stab on Zapdos for whatever reason. It's also able to help us with those bulky Psychic types that the Zapdos doesn't like, I mean the Necrozma doesn't like. So we're able to get rid of those dark types, those psychic types with the bug bite, which is really nice. Stab U-turns is phenomenal. Having access to knockoff to remove items is also really, really great. And sadly, it doesn't get close combat, but it does have access to superpower, which is phenomenal. This can be a really good setup sweeper threat, as well as a support Pokemon. As well as a Bulkymon that just come in and take hits. Getting access to Roost, it's a steel type that has access to recovery, which is relatively rare. So not only does it get recovery, it gets pivot momentum with U-turn, as well as defog for that utility. So this thing can fill a lot of roles for any given matchup, which is really nice, really nice. So being able to grab a high quality and a high tiered steel type around where we got it is super clutch. So this is what, first, second, third, fourth, fifth pick in the fifth round Scizor. We'll take it. We paired off Scizor with Tangrowth. So Tangrowth's going to be able to be that bulky Pokemon to switch into ground types, because right now we develop a little bit of a weakness to it. Nidoqueen and Raikou don't like coming in on ground types. Obviously they're super effective, so we want to be able to have something to be able to soak up those hits. We could bring in Zapdos, but we don't want to bring in Zapdos too often on offensive threats. We rather have a defensive piece, and having access to Regenerator, which is a broken ability. For those who don't know what Regenerator does, you recover 1/3 of your health every single time you come back in. You switch out, come back in, you get 1/3 back, which is crazy. It's basically a free recover. You don't get half, but you get 1/3. It's really nice just for switching. So being able to have that pivot defensive Pokemon is phenomenal. It's another Pokemon that we do have in the SDA, and using it to mass success. I'm very comfortable with using Tangrowth. It's a very fat Pokemon that isn't very passive because of the coverage that it has. Having access to a lot, really has Giga Drain and Power Up, so you can go physical or special. Has access to Earthquake, has access to knockoff, which is really nice, and also being able to get a good support Pokemon with Sleep Powder, Leech Seed, etc. Tangrowth can be form fitted to any matchup. It can be physical, it can be special, it can be mixed if you want to. It can be mixed defensive with an Assault Vest and still have that bulk on the defensive side. Very awesome wall, super awesome wall. Next mon that we picked up is going to be Crawdad. So we have our dark type wall breaker to pair off with Necrozma and Zapdos. I was talking to the front office. This was either going to be Crawdad or if it was going to be Sharpedo. Sharpedo was criminally underpriced in this league. I think that it was 7 points, so 2 points cheaper than Crawdad. But ultimately, we decided to go with the Crawdaddy himself. This thing hits like a truck. If you don't know, you're gonna find out. This thing has access to adaptability, being able to get a not only 1.5 times boost, and now it's a 2 point. It's basically gonna double damage on any of its stabs. Crab Hammer, which is base 100. Knockoff, which is going to be phenomenal to be able to spam on any type of build. Also having access to Aqua Jet is phenomenal for that priority setup in Swords Dance, as well as Dragon Dance if it's a team that doesn't have crazy speed. Having Dragon Dance Crawdad is going to be a massive threat to get that +1 attack boost plus speed boost to be able to just mollywop teams or just break teams in general. If you just want to run, Choice Bandit on this thing, it's just going to break teams. There's not very many things to switch into Crawdad, and I'm very excited to have it. It's gonna be such a fun Pokemon. I think that aside from Zapdos, Crawdad is probably the most exciting, the Pokemon I'm looking forward to the most in using. So that's the thing. Next mon we have is going to be Cryogenome, making its return from the NCP. This time I think we're gonna change the nickname. We had Stone Cold before, but I think we're gonna change it to what did I change it to? It's something super clever, but I forgot. But anyway, this thing is a really good switch into ground types because of the access to the ability Levitate. I'm not sure if Excadrill was drafted. I don't think it was. I could be wrong. But having access to Levitate, being able to come in on those ground type hits and threaten it with ice coverage, Ice Beam or Freeze Dry is phenomenal. Freeze Dry, that move we just said, broken ass move. I love that move. Being able to be super effective damage against water types is phenomenal, especially against those ground water type Pokemon like Seismitoad, Gastrodon, Quagsire. Awesome. Being able to just run freeze dry plus like knock off and rapid spin, being able to reliably remove hazards with heavy duty boots, and having access to recover. This thing is super bulky on the Spadef side. People sleep on Cryogenome. I love this Pokemon. I've fallen in love with it. There's a lot of times, maybe like 8 times out of 10, people don't respect how weak they are to ice types, especially ice types with access to freeze dry. There's been many instances where this Pokemon has a phenomenal matchup, especially with the speed tier of 105. So good, so good. This thing is gonna be a pain in the ass to a lot of teams. And actually right now we don't have much removal. All we have is Scizor, because I think that Zapdos does not get access to defog, which is unfortunate, even though it is indeed a flying type. Yeah, it doesn't get defog. So our only removal right now is Scizor, so we had to add upon that. So now we have rapid spin to be able to not get rid of our hazards, but the hazards that our opponent has stacked on us, which is super nice. Next mod we have is Shuckle. Shuckle is going to be super instrumental on the offense that we have on this team for 2 Pokemon in general. Number 1, Zapdos. Zapdos has the ability Defiant, which means that if any of my stats get reduced by my opponent, I get a +2 attack boost, which is phenomenal. Being able to set up sticky webs with Shuckle, and then my opponent wants to defog them away, we can catch that with Zapdos coming in, get that attack boost, phenomenal. And if he doesn't get rid of them, he drops his speed by 1, and our wall breakers go nutty. Crawdad goes nutty. Offensive Scizor goes nutty. Raikou goes nutty. Wallbreaker Nidoqueen goes nutty. Sticky webs is going to be phenomenal for this team. Also having access to Stealth Rock is super cool. People shit on Shuckle. I like Shuckle a lot. Just put a mental herb on it. You don't have to worry about being taunted. Switch out, come back in later, set up your hazards. We can set up Toxics with this thing. If we want to get cheeky, we can run Contrary plus Shell Smash to boost our defenses. Contrary basically does the opposite of whatever stat boost or stat loss happens. So Shell Smash typically would raise your attack and your special attack by 2 and drop in your defenses, your special defense and your defense. So if you do the Contrary plus the Shell Smash, then it raises the defenses and drops the attacks, which is what we want to do to be able to be super bulky and just spam Toxic and Infestation, trap something and just let it die, which is really nice. So it's something that we could do this season, which is really perfect. But we basically drafted this thing for Sticky Web essentially. So next one we have is Greedent. Kurt in my front office, he was very against me getting Greedent, but Gravy Jack has proven this thing to be a threat. So we want to try it out for ourselves, and it's 1 point. 1 point Greedent, why not, right? So I think this is mis-tiered. I think that this thing's maybe like a 2-pointer, maybe a 3-pointer, but we did a lot of heavy spending in the very first half of the draft, so we wanted to be able to grab some value here in 1 point. So we picked up Greedent as a very fat normal type, so that way we can have really offensive ghost types just spam Hex or Shadow Ball, especially with the threat having Necrozma be super effective against it, even though it does have the prison armor. It's nice to have a really bulky normal type. This thing can be really good and really annoying with Cheek Pouch. Being able to get that extra berry is really nice with Citrus to be able to go to 50% and go to full, which is basically like Snorlax 2.0 for this generation, which is weird. And being able to get those body slime pairs would be really clutch. Getting access to Crunch as well as Earthquake for some really good coverage is really nice. And maybe just Assault Vest 4 attacks. This thing is super chonky and and eats hits relatively well. So hopefully we're able to use this with max success. I actually want to bring Greedent a little bit more than just a couple games. So hopefully that does come to fruition. Very excited for it. And so for the very last pick, we did decide to pick up Spritzy. Spritzy is going to be our normal type, but I know what you're thinking. This is baby Aromatisse, for those who don't know, but Spritzy I'm very excited for. With an Eviolite, this thing is actually super chonky. And with its ability, I think it's Aromavale, Spritzy. It cannot get taunted. So it gets Healer and it also gets Aromavale. Aromavale means that it is immune to taunt. Protects the user and allies from Attract, Disable, Encore, Heal Block, Taunt, and Torment. So which means that I can use any kind of support moves to ease. I can wish up. It's not gonna get the biggest wishes in the world. It does have a base 78 special attack HP stat. So it's not going to be the biggest wishes in the world, but it is a thing. But it gets access to Heal Bell, I believe. Yeah, it does. It's a really good cleric, guys. It's got Heal Bell to be able to ensure that we're not getting any burns on our Zapdos or Toxics, on our Tangrowth. No burns on the Crawdad, which would be really, really nice. Wish Protect, we already talked about that before. Aromatherapy in case I want to get cheeky, but Heal Bell obviously is there, so it's the same as that thing. If I want to get dual screens, I think it gets Light Screen and it gets Reflect. It does, so I can go dual screens on our boy here. So there's a lot of really cool things that we could do. Or if you disrespect it, I think, does it get Draining Kiss? It does not get Draining Kiss. It does get Draining Kiss. So if I go for a Calm Mind Draining Kiss, hey, you never know. There's some possibilities with Spritzy. We're gonna prove that this thing could be a threat. It's a very good fairy type, and it's a very good budget fairy type for 1 point. We decided to go with this over a higher tier fairy, because we're going with a dark fighting psychic offensive core, which is very, very nitty gritty, and I'm very excited for it. So that is going to be the team. I'm sorry for my low tone. Summer's behind the green screen, passed out. So that is the thing. That's their team for this season of the EWT. Games, I think, are going to go up on Friday, Saturday. I don't know when games go up. You'll see them soon. You'll see them soon. But draft analysis are wonky, man. So I just wanted to get this out to you guys. Another announcement though, these Pokemon are gonna have custom shiny sprites. Shout out to Olivia Sama for hooking us up here, which means that the shinies of our Pokemon are gonna be an alternative color than the standard shinies, which is really, really nice. Can't wait for you guys to see those. It's gonna be super, super clutch. If you guys are in the Sanctuary, you guys have already seen them before, or I'm gonna post them today so you guys can check those out once this goes live, so you guys get exclusive access to check these things out before anybody else. Link will be down in the description to join the Sanctuary in case you're interested to come hanging out with some really fun people, amazing peeps that are in there, and I'm very grateful for every single one of them and their support. But yeah, with that being said, y'all, taking enough of your time, have a great rest of your day, and above all else, be nice. Peace.